Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to return home and find everyone you love had simply vanished without a trace? Picture this. You're expecting to see familiar faces, children running to greet you, the warm glow of hearth fires, but instead, you find only empty houses and an eerie silence. This is exactly what happened to John White in 1590, and it remains one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. If you're new here, subscribe now for more stories that reveal history's hidden truths, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from tonight. Our story begins in the late 1500s, when England was desperately trying to establish a foothold in the New World to compete with Spanish dominance. Sir Walter Raleigh, a favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, had received a royal charter to establish colonies in North America. After two previous failed attempts on Roanoke Island off the coast of what is now North Carolina, Raleigh organized a third expedition in 1587. This time the plan was different. Instead of sending only men seeking quick riches, they would establish a true settlement with families, including women and children, who would build permanent homes and create a lasting English presence in America. The expedition consisted of 117 colonists led by John White, an artist and cartographer who had participated in earlier voyages to Roanoke. Among the settlers were White's own pregnant daughter Eleanor and her husband Ananias Dare. The colonists arrived at Roanoke Island in July 1587, but almost immediately, problems arose. They found the remnants of the previous failed colony and discovered that relations with the local Algonquian tribes had deteriorated significantly due to conflicts from earlier expeditions. Food supplies were running dangerously low, and it became clear that without immediate help from England, the colony would not survive the coming winter. Reluctantly, John White agreed to return to England to gather supplies and reinforcements, leaving behind his daughter, his newborn granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America, and 115 other colonists. White departed in late August 1587, promising to return as quickly as possible. However, fate had other plans. When White reached England, he found a nation preparing for war with Spain. Queen Elizabeth had ordered that no ships could leave English ports except to fight the Spanish Armada, which was threatening to invade England. White watched helplessly as months turned into years, unable to secure passage back to his family and the struggling colony. It wasn't until August 1593, long years later, that White finally managed to return to Roanoke Island aboard a privateering vessel. What he discovered there would haunt him for the rest of his life and puzzle historians for centuries to come. The settlement was completely deserted. Houses had been dismantled in an orderly fashion, suggesting the departure wasn't rushed or violent. Most mysteriously, White found the word CROATOAN carved into a wooden post of the fort's palisade, and the letters CROW carved into a nearby tree. Before leaving, White had instructed the colonists to carve a cross into a tree if they were in distress, but no cross was found anywhere. CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, now called Hatteras Island, where a friendly Algonquian tribe lived, led by Chief Manteo, who had previously traveled to England and maintained good relations with the English. White desperately wanted to sail to CROATOAN Island to search for the colonists, believing they had relocated there for safety. However, rough weather and his ship captain's eagerness to leave for more profitable privateering ventures prevented the search. A broken anchor cable during a storm nearly wrecked their ship, and the captain refused to risk further delay. With a heavy heart, John White was forced to abandon his search and return to England, never to see his family again. The fate of the 115 missing colonists, including Virginia Dare, who would have been about 3 years old when her grandfather returned, remains unknown to this day. Over the centuries, numerous theories have emerged about what happened to them. Some historians believe they integrated with local Native American tribes, intermarrying and assimilating into indigenous communities. Archaeological evidence has suggested possible connections between the colonists and tribes living inland from the coast. Other theories propose that the colonists attempted to sail back to England in small boats and were lost at sea, or that they were killed in conflicts with hostile tribes, though no evidence of violence was found at the settlement. Modern archaeological investigations have uncovered tantalizing clues, but no definitive answers. Excavations have revealed European artifacts at sites associated with Native American settlements from the late 16th and early 17th centuries, suggesting possible contact or cohabitation. DNA studies of certain Native American populations in the region have yielded inconclusive but intriguing results. Some researchers have found European genetic markers in descendants of tribes that lived in the area during the colonial period, though these could have come from later contact with other European settlers. The mystery of Roanoke has captured the American imagination for over 400 years, inspiring countless books, documentaries, and even supernatural theories. Virginia Dare became a legendary figure in American folklore, often portrayed as a symbol of early American resilience and mystery. The story represents both the dreams and the harsh realities of early colonial attempts, the hope for a new life in a new world, and the unforgiving challenges that could make entire communities disappear without a trace. Today, the site of the lost colony is preserved as part of the Fort Raleigh National Historic Site on Roanoke Island, North Carolina. Visitors can walk where the colonists once lived and ponder the same questions that have puzzled investigators for centuries. The outdoor drama, The Lost Colony, has been performed there every summer since 1937, keeping the mystery alive for new generations. Archaeological work continues, with researchers using increasingly sophisticated technology to search for clues that might finally solve America's oldest mystery. What makes the lost colony so enduringly fascinating isn't just the mystery itself, but what it represents about the early European experience in America. It reminds us that the colonization of North America wasn't the inevitable success story we sometimes imagine, but rather a series of desperate, dangerous gambles where entire communities could vanish into the vast unknown of a new continent. The 115 souls of Roanoke remain silent witnesses to the courage, hope, and ultimate fragility of those first attempts to bridge two worlds, European and American, known and unknown, civilization and wilderness.